Hey everybody, welcome. It's Wednesday at 6:30, but it's still AEW Weekly. We usually do the show Tuesdays at 7. But we had something going on last night and tonight actually. Kay Fabulous has some business to attend to, but Wolf was nice enough to help us out and sub in for her. So thank you, Wolf. And so, we're going to talk about Collision, talk about Dynamite. We're going to look ahead to Grand Slam. Probably look ahead just a little to Revolution. We had some guys leave AEW this week, some pretty high profile guys. We're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to have our top 5 rankings and probably a little bit more. But yeah, so, as it goes, anything you want to talk about that's AEW related. Let's talk about it. We try and avoid WWE on this show. If you want to talk about WWE, that's WWE Weekly, which returns Sunday at 7 with me, Wolf, and Willie. So that is this Sunday at 7. It comes back. But tonight's AEW. So yeah, we'll get right to it. Talking about the TV, getting some match ratings going here. And so we'll start with Dynamite, February 5th. They were in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'll tell you, these Atlanta crowds, they were noticeably better than the Huntsville, Alabama crowds.
Yeah.
They acted like they actually wanted to be there and were having a good time. It made a big difference for the shows. We started off, it was Will Ospreay taking on a mystery member of the Don Callis family, who, we all thought it would be a new member, and it was. Mark Davis, formerly of Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher's partner in that,
Yeah.
he came in and took on Ospreay, and he looked a little trimmed down, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was a very good match. These two have known each other a long time, and it showed in this match. And Ospreay pinned Davis after hitting a flying hidden blade. Davis was standing, not seated, as the hidden blade is usually hit. Good match. 4 bones out of 5 on this one. Wolf, you got anything to say about that one?
No, not really. It's just what I expected. Very good. Osprey, amazing. With Davis, really good. It seems like Davis is still kind of, with the teases that they've done, it seems like Davis is kind of being coerced into the Don Callis family. They're kind of telling some kind of coercion storyline with Davis, but I'm interested to see how that goes.
Up next, we saw the Hounds of Hell, which is Buddy Matthews and Brody King. That's their new name since Malachi Black left. And they took on 2 more Callis family members. And they took on Kyle Fletcher and international champion Konosuke Takeshita. And this was a hell of a match, I thought. No pun intended. And they fought tooth and nail, hard battle, a lot of awesome moves hit. All 4 guys looked great, I thought. Fletcher and Takeshita, they got the win. Takeshita pinned King after a double suplex.
No, I think it was Fletcher that
Fletcher pinned King.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I had Fletcher and Takeshita pin King, so I took a shot. So Fletcher pin King after a double suplex.
Yeah.
But yeah, great match. I thought 4.5 bones out of 5. Really good tag match.
Very good tag match.
Up next, we had Timeless Toni Storm, the women's #1 contender. She took on Queen Aminata. Aminata with her new look that I'm not really crazy about. But she's still the same in the ring. She's pretty good. This match was a little more awkward. I expected a little better, but I think all the awkwardness came from Aminata. I wouldn't put any of it on Toni Storm.
Right.
She looked a little unsure of some of her movements, some of her moves. So yeah, it was just kind of clunky. Tony Storm got the win, and I gave this one 3 bones out of 5.
Yeah.
It's still fun to watch, but like I said, just some clunkiness in there.
Right. I thought it was pretty good. It was kind of really obvious that Tony was gonna win that. So yeah, good match, but too predictable.
Yeah, and that took off some as well. Yeah, I take off some points when a match is a little one sided and when you know who's gonna win. Yeah.
Yep.
Main event of Dynamite was another pretty good one. We only had 4 matches, but they were pretty good matches.
Yep.
We had former world champion Swerve Strickland taking on Ricochet, who's been magical since he's come to AEW. No hyperbole there, and it was an excellent match. This feud is really going well. Both men are selling it really well. Ricochet seems as though he's gone a bit crazy, which is nice to have, to go from zero character to, crazy heel has really worked for Ricochet. And this one, Ricochet hit the spirit gun and pinned Strickland. And this one, I gave 4.5 bones out of 5. Also, very good match.
Very good. Yeah, very. This was an amazing match. Ricochet is doing so well in AEW. I was a little worried that what's it called? He was gonna get like a bit of a honeymoon phase and then kind of die down, which kind of could still happen, but I don't think so. I think with how things are going, Ricochet is doing better than he ever did in WWE. I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
And character wise, I think he's at his best. Yeah, maybe not in ring, but definitely character wise, I think this is really doing a lot of help to his career.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely right. All right, we had 3 days later, February 8th, we had AEW Collision in Houston, Texas, and we had a bunch of matches on this show. So I'm gonna try and go quicker than usual, so we can get into some discussion and things like that. Opening up, we had a 3-way trios match. We had Undisputed Kingdom taking on Shane Taylor Promotions, taking on Adam Garcia, the TNT champion, Cool Hand Ange, and Daddy Magic. And this, I wouldn't, I always say I'm not crazy about triple threat matches, but this went pretty well, I thought.
Yeah.
Adam Cole pinned Carly Bravo of Shane Taylor Promotions after hitting the boom. And as I said, good match. Shane Taylor didn't even do that much bad because he wasn't in the ring for very long. Everybody else in the match looked good, I thought. Yeah, good match. 4 bones out of 5 for this one. And then we had the champs run in after this to prove that the trios champions still exist, and they do still have the belts, in fact. And that set up we have a title match tonight on Dynamite, right?
2 title matches. We have tag title match and we have a trio title match.
We'll talk about those a little bit.
Yeah.
Up next, we had the return of Bandito, and man, he looked fantastic. And he took on Brian Keith of the Learning Tree. And it's kind of neat doing a bandit versus a bounty hunter. And they even had a spot where they went back to back in the center of the ring at one point and took 10 paces to the corners, which was kind of cool, kind of goofy. The things I like about AEW, it's kind of cool and kind of goofy. And Bandito ended up getting the win over Brian Keith. 4 bones out of 5. Good match. Maybe the best Brian Keith has looked in a singles match, I think. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep up with Bandito before the match began, but he was.
Yeah.
And up next, we had some more awesome Mexican wrestlers, some more luchadors. We had La Facción Ingobernable and they had a squash match. They took on Aries and Jay Alexander and Brick Savage.
Yep.
And Roosh pinned Aries Alexander after hitting "You Get the Harms,"
Yep.
and it was a squash match. And after the match, God, who was it that ran in the heels?
No, the faces ran in. So Commander
Right.
ran in, and then we got
Oh,
a
right.
returning hologram.
Right, because they were beating down the faces, right?
Yeah.
And then Commander ran in for the save, and Hologram ran in for the save, and I lost my mind when Hologram came back. He and Osprey are my favorites in AEW right now for sure. Yeah, so Hologram is back, thankfully. Bandito is back. Let's go. I would love to see get rid of some belts, obviously, but I would love to see like a Lucha Libre title in AEW. I think they have enough luchadors, and add a couple more, and I think we're good to go. Like I said, take away one or two belts, and give me a Lucha Libre belt. Um, yeah, so Hologram's back. I went and bought a hologram shirt on Shop AEW, so I can't wait to show that. Um, Up next, we had Dustin Rhodes, 1/3 of the Ring of Honor Trios champs and half of the Ring of Honor Tag champs.
Yep.
And he had a match. Just he's trying to show he's not too old to go, and he definitely is not too old. And he beat Izzy James. This match was nothing. He hit 2 crossroads on Izzy James, and that was it. Pinned him.
Yep.
Squash match, and then he cut a promo. And Dustin Rhodes is fighting MJF on Dynamite tonight, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
he is. Sorry.
And Steven says, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Steven?" And Johnny said, "Imagine if Daddy Magic had wrestled Fantasia in his prime." Do you remember Fantasia, Wolf? Do you know who we talking?
I don't think so.
Should look him up. He was like a WWF, like a magical character in WWF.
Yeah, that's before my time.
Yeah, it was like 97, 96, 97. It was goofy. All right, up next we had former world champion Thunder Rosa taking on Penelope Ford. And this one was just okay. Again, some clunkiness in this women's match. I wasn't expecting much, and we didn't get much. Thunder Rosa pinned Penelope Ford after a Tijuana bomb, and I gave this one 2.5 bones. Just a very average match. And Steven talking about Fantasia, or Fantasio, I forget his name. Johnny said Fantasio. Steven says he was Spellbinder in Memphis Wrestling. He says, I think it was 95. That may have been, it was somewhere in there, 95 to 97.
Yep.
Let my dog in before she beats the door down. What?
Thank you.
Come on. Sorry about that. Up next, we had a non-title match. We had world champion Mariah May in an exhibition against Jay Carmichael, I think was her name.
Yep.
And she hit a fireman's carry slam and got the pin. So several of these were just squash matches, setting up like promos or setting up matches for this week, things like that. For the main event on Collision, we got Kyle Fletcher of the Callis family taking on former Ring of Honor world champion Mark Briscoe. And this match was awesome. They went at it. Mark Briscoe always gives 100%. And Kyle Fletcher, I would probably say the same about him. And man, it was wild. Briscoe got color, meaning, he bled. And eventually, though, Kyle Fletcher pinned Briscoe after a brainbuster onto the turnbuckle pad. Excellent match. I have nothing bad to say about this one. 5 bones out of 5, and I give that's your AEW match of the week. Fletcher over Briscoe. Fantastic match.
Yeah, for sure. Fletcher, yeah, it's just Fletcher and Briscoe. They're just that good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So honestly, 5/5, 5 out of 5 match.
Mhm. And Steven says, great match, Fletcher versus Briscoe. Briscoe overbladed his head. Yeah, he was bleeding a little too much there. Yeah. Johnny said Ricky Starks had my favorite strap match of all time against Brian Danielson. I remember that one. He
That
will
was
be
pretty
missed
good.
in AEW. And Faz
Yeah.
B, what's up, man? Said AEW has been awesome lately. For the most part, I agree. Yeah. We've had a string of really good shows. There was one in there I didn't like, but otherwise, we've had a bunch of really good shows in a row. I'm anxious to see what happens at Grand Slam and Revolution. I think we're leading up to some good things. Um, so now I want to talk about some big news that happened this week. We had three uh, big name AEW stars leave the company. We had Ricky Starks, and he already made the jump to NXT. We had Miro, and we had Malachi Black all leave. And I just want to kind of talk about real quick what was the what's the impact of these three leaving. So first, I guess we'll talk about Wolf. What do you think about Ricky Starks leaving? What are we gonna see? What are we gonna miss?
I think we're gonna see something. We're basically gonna see Ricky back on TV, back to working, doing what he does. I think he's gonna go do great in WWE, just because he does seem to fit that style. Plus, a lot of people he knows and is honestly really close to is in WWE. So I think WWE will probably favor him. Um, and he's kind of got that like with AEW, people always made comparisons to him and The Rock. I do think that kind of charisma, that kind of mic talent, I think it's gonna do well in WWE. WWE seems to favor that highly. So he's probably going to start in NXT, which honestly I understand it because NXT desperately needs him. Because their men's division is barren. It is gone. There's like two people, like reasonable, like contenders in that like men's NXT title division. There's like no one. Um, I really don't understand why what's it called? Tony kind of dropped the ball with him that he could have easily um at least done something with Ricky. Even if Ricky had his mindset and was going to WWE, he could have at least written him off properly. Um, because he was doing really well, and I think the start of the things going downhill was um, pairing him up with Big Bill. I think that was a disastrous booking decision. Um, I understand what Ricky was doing. Ricky wanted to elevate Big Bill. However, that didn't turn out well. I don't think Tony Khan and creative really like pushed that forward. It seems like Big Bill has benefited more from Chris Jericho than Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Um, which is wild to even utter, but it is what it is. Um, so I definitely think it's good.
So let me ask real quick. Eric here is asking, how come Starks isn't going to the main shows? Why do you think?
um, the thing is, a lot of the big stars in WWE have started with what's it called in NXT. So I think NXT is going to help a lot for making these big stars. And honestly, it's probably a good thing that Ricky is going to NXT first because
Mm.
NXT has really shaped a lot of careers in WWE. Gunther was in NXT. Finn Balor, even though he's not being booked that great in the main roster right now, he did go through NXT. Kevin Owens went through NXT. Sami Zayn went to NXT. And even Seth Rollins started in NXT. So, like, all these top names, they have started in NXT. So, I think in WWE, NXT is very important. And I think Ricky starting in NXT is just a start of a journey that um, the start of the journey to get that to that big name that he probably could be.
I think a lot of people talk about Stark's mic skills, and he was good. You know, he's good
Yeah.
enough to me. I'm not a huge fan of his. I don't see what the hoopla is, but I know a lot of people really like him. I think he kind of got vaporized when Adam Copeland called him. What did he call him? The Vanilla Rock, something like that.
Yeah, vanilla midget rock something, but like
Yeah,
it's Adam Copeland. He's been in this like industry for like how many decades? Like uh, Ricky's kind of like still like just kind of broke in
yeah.
like 5-ish years ago. So
So Steven here said depends on how NXT books Starks. Wait and see what happens.
right.
Give Stark some seasoning. He will be in the main roster next year. Yeah.
Yeah, and like working with people like Trick Williams, like Obafemi, even the North American champion Tony D'Angelo. I think I think there are some good names that could work well in with Ricky in NXT. Because and I've seen someone said Ricky's too small. I don't think he's that small. Honestly, if there was one person that I think Ricky could be compared to, at least kind of in the same vicinity, LA Knight. It's just LA Knight, I think, and Ricky are very similar, and plus that would probably be a very good feud. And I think eventually Ricky, like in that same vicinity, Ricky Starks will be. He probably won't be like too big, but he'll still be like a consistent, uh, lovable talent that people will enjoy watching.
Mhm.
Um,
All right, and let's move on. We got a lot of comments, but we're gonna move on.
yeah,
Looks like people are really interested in the Ricky Starks move.
right.
Um, but we're gonna move on and kind of use this to transition. Faz B here says no one got over from AEW at WWE. Only Cody, who they keep shoving down people's throats. Um,
No, no,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
no.
disagree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, Cody, Punk was already over, like is already insanely over no matter where he goes. Penta, like it even like I'd say Jade is pretty good, in a good spot. Even the people from AEW and NXT, like Ethan Page is a top heel in NXT. So I think plus Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, that would be good.
Yeah,
Um,
ironically, I think we're going to end up seeing Ricky Starks and Ethan Page in NXT. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so let's move on. Let's talk about Miro. What do you think? A good thing or bad thing? Miro leaving.
good. Nothing was done with Miro.
Yeah.
He was gone for like way too much. Like 80% of his time in AEW, he was not there. Uh, And I don't know if he was just like, if Miro was just kind of worried about the plans for him and creative, and he kind of like politic, like kind of pushed back on losing, or because I can understand it, especially with a gimmick like the Redeemer. You can't really, you have to book him dominant first, especially someone like his size, his like strength. It doesn't make sense to just willy nilly like make him lose.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I really don't know. I just don't know if there was really a plan too much for him, like especially after his TNT title reign.
That's one
Um,
where it's hard for us to know, was it Tony's fault for not having a plan?
we
Or
have no
was it
idea.
right,
There was
exactly. Or was it Miro's fault, for not wanting to go with the plan? And yeah, we don't know.
yeah, there was nothing like really reliable to tell us what was going on with
Right.
Miro and Tony, but I don't know. I don't even know where he would go outside, like in terms of other wrestling companies. Like maybe he could come back to WWE. I can't tell if I don't know if he'd be the same as before. Like people were saying like, oh, what's it called? Rusev Day would once again be so over. I mean, I don't think so. I think the time for that whole Rusev Day stuff is done. And no matter where he goes, I think Miro should keep the Redeemer gimmick. I think the Redeemer is much more unique, much more interesting, and would really help his career. Maybe TNA it would work, but I really don't know.
And let me see. This is aside the fact, but I just wanted to. I was reading the comments here, and Steven here says Hogan and his beer company got sued, throwing beer cans to the crowd, injuring a couple of people.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
right?
just
Where was that?
I don't remember. I just remember what's it called? I saw like a report of saying like a woman was suing Hogan and his Real American Beer company because she got injured from what's it called? Beer cans being thrown to the crowd.
If it's at the wrestling show, nothing's gonna happen. Those tickets
Yeah,
on the back, they're like, you're fucked. If something happens, too bad.
yeah,
You're at a wrestling show.
yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I've never heard of a lawsuit from something that happened at a wrestling show. Those tickets always say you might get hit by something. Stuff's flying everywhere. You might get hit
Yeah,
by
yeah,
person, even. Um, Johnny here said game changer wrestling could be a good option for Miro.
yeah.
What do you think?
GCW probably could work. MLW also. So really anywhere could work. Yeah, probably New Japan could even maybe try, but I don't know if they'll try pursuing Miro.
Well,
Um,
while we're mentioning Game Changer and a couple other, big indies, I just want to mention on Netflix, it's not brand new or anything, but Netflix has a documentary series called Wrestlers, uh, that's about Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is run by Al Snow. And if you're into pro wrestling, you will like it. It's like 9 or 10 episodes, something like that, and it's just a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of how wrestling shows get go from an idea to final matches happening and angles happening and how you get heat and this and that and the other. They talk to Al Snow a lot. Very interesting. Again, it's on Netflix. It's just called Wrestlers, so check that out if you have a chance.
so I just looked it up a little bit. Apparently it was at a bar.
Yep.
Um, what's it called, that woman that got hit, like apparently they were doing some kind of like promotional event where Hulk Hogan I think was there. uh the impact caused the woman to have a big open wound to the forehead after Hogan and other promoters were riling up the crowd with freight cans being thrown. So apparently it hit her head and big wound, like during yeah, I think it was just in a bar, not in a
Uh,
wrestling.
well, that's different than being at a wrestling show for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, she might have a case there.
yeah.
Um, and lastly, let's finish up our talk with my favorite of the three who left, and that's Malachi Black. What do you see happening for Malachi?
Okay, so it seems like he's probably going to WWE. I think it'll be fine. I It's really hard to tell. I think he should be on main roster. He doesn't need to be on NXT, even though, as I said, NXT's men's division is barren. But he's already spent plenty of time in NXT. I think he should be on main roster. He probably should be on SmackDown because SmackDown kind of has a roster gap with Raw. I'm not sure how different it'll be. Black should win the U.S. title in his return match. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I mean, Nakamura and Black, assuming Nakamura keeps the title until WrestleMania, would be pretty good. But I don't know if they'll do that. The thing is, I think Malachi was in a really solid position in AEW. I think he was very crucial. The House of Black, in my opinion, was basically the most iconic heel faction in AEW. Like when you think heel factions in AEW, the first one you think of House of Black. It's that they were so critical to AEW, especially the trios division. They basically carried the trios division. And I think Black enjoyed working with Buddy and Brody. I am happy that they were able to segue into something new without Black. And it's not like completely different. It's not like a full gimmick change. It's not like complete change 180 in direction. Like it's something that is still kind of retaining that House of Black part. What's it called? But still like new, kind of fitting more Brody than Black. But sorry.
No, so Malachi, last time we saw him in WWE, he was locked in a room and, was saying, I want to fight. I want to fight.
Yeah, that was
Are we going to see better for him? Are we going to see better for him?
I think we will. I think we will. Because the devil is gone. The literal devil man is gone. And we don't have pandemic era stuff. It's not pandemic stuff anymore. So we don't need to worry about like rooms, pre-recorded segments too much. Like we're still able to go out. I mean, personally, I hope that he comes back as Malachi and not as Alistair because I like Malachi more than Alistair. The one gripe I have about him in WWE, and especially lately, they've made little teases, and it seems like I'm praying this is not the case. I'm worried they are going to put Malachi Black in the Judgment Day, and I'm like, hell no, not this Judgment Day, especially not if Finn is out on his way out of the Judgment Day. No, I like maybe begin like early Judgment Day, sure, like a creepy goth Judgment Day, fine. Street trash Judgment Day, absolutely not. So yeah,
I like Street Trash Judgment Day, but yeah, not a place for him for sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with Street Trash and Judgment Day, but no, Malachi does not fit that. Like that keep what's it called? Dom, Carlito, Raquel, Liv, and maybe JD if JD stays, but like I'm worried. I don't know who else they could be thinking of adding as a new member when what's it called? Dom has had these like teases like with Chad Gable about Malachi and like focus on that. Do that dark arts of lucha libre stuff. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But don't bring this don't bring Malachi into this street trash stuff. No, absolutely not.
Speaking of dark and lucha together, I tell you, if he comes to Raw, what I think would be really cool is to have a bit of a, and maybe throw someone else in, but have a feud. Braun Breaker, Penta, and Malachi Black maybe for the Intercontinental title. I
I
think so.
saw, I did see more like mostly like Twitter rumors, but
Mhm.
um like people were speculating that we would probably get Dominic and Malachi versus Ray and Penta at WrestleMania. Like, and then like afterwards Malachi would turn face. And I'm like, eh, no. Like, I would rather just like throw Dominic and like Malachi can face Ray or Penta, like, one-on-one match. That's fine, but
Or
I
maybe a faction with well, Ray's already got the LWO. Never mind.
yeah,
Never mind.
yeah, can't do that. No, I really don't know. It's kind of hard what plans are, especially with they're already confusing us with WrestleMania as is. Add
Yeah,
Black into the mix, and it's like, we don't we don't know what the hell is going on.
yeah. True, true. It is getting a little confusing, but that's a good thing. Having too much talent near the top is a good problem to have. Um, Johnny there, he said as far as AEW heel stables, he thinks of Inner Circle and the JAS, Jericho
Inner
Appreciation
Circle
Society.
was before House of Black
Yeah,
came in, but JS I would say no. I think House of Black was what's it called, became more iconic than even JS. Um, but we'll see how it is.
so here I want to switch gears a little. Um, we've got Saturday. We've got Grand Slam coming up,
Yep.
and real quick, we're not doing a formal preview show, and the predictions belt is not on the line. But let's do some predictions real quick. Why don't you run down? We'll do it match by match. So what matches have we got, Wolf?
Well, I mean, they just posted the poster lately. So we do got um the TBS title on the line. Mercedes Moné defending against Harley Cameron. We got AEW Continental
Here,
Championship
let's
on.
just take them. Let's just take them one at a time.
Oh, okay,
We don't need
okay,
to talk about them for long, but at least
yeah,
let's get predictions.
sure.
Uh,
Um,
Monet.
Monet, yeah, Monet's definitely. Yeah, I mean, good big match for Harley, but Monet is retaining. Uh, there's not much to be said with that one.
No.
We got a Continental Championship, Kazuchika Okada defending against Buddy Matthews of the Hounds of Hell. Very good match. This is probably the match I'm most excited for, because I love Buddy, and Okada is Okada. Um, I want Buddy to win. I selfishly want Buddy to win, but I know Okada's gonna retain. So yeah, Okada is probably retaining, but I really want Buddy to win.
Yeah, same here. I would love for Buddy to win and show, kind of show that he can step in and take Malachi's place, so to speak. Just show that he's a formidable singles wrestler. He doesn't need other people around him, even if they are around him. But yeah, I'm very excited for this matchup. I think it's going to be a unique matchup. I think it's going to be a great match.
I
Could
think,
end up being match of the night.
yeah,
Could be.
and I think especially since it seems like I don't know, it seems like they're trying to have tell that like Buddy's kind of like trying to bring out that like New Japan like prime Okada out instead of just the guy that always calls people bitch, but like basically the real Okada. I think we
Right.
might get some of that Okada back. So I am interested to see where it goes.
But yeah,
Uh,
same. I'm picking Okada. Yeah.
yeah. Next up we got Brisbane Brawl, which is just another flavorful anything goes match. Tag team match between Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley of the Death Riders against Jay White and the rated R superstar Adam Copeland. Um, this is interesting. I am intrigued at how this will go. I'm sure it'll be very violent because all the people involved pretty much. I think the baby faces win. I think Copeland and Jay White win. Honestly, I think the reasonable thing to do, the logical outcome should be that Copeland pins Moxley. And that sets up Revolution. That sets up Cope versus Mox at Revolution, and like that is how you segue into that match, especially since Moxley is refusing Cope's challenge for the world title. I think this is how you get Moxley to accept. You have a Copeland pin Moxley. They could also push it off. They could instead give it to Jay White, and they could have Jay White pin Moxley, and then do Jay White versus Moxley at Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, White. I mean, White deserves a title match just as much as Copeland does. I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I agree with you with the Copeland winning, getting the win over Moxley to set up a title match. I think yeah, the faces go over here. And let me ask you, is this going to be the opening match? You think?
Uh, yeah, probably.
I would think so with Storm and
Yeah, Storm and
May
Mariah,
main
like
eventing.
especially with the like poster of like the card that they just recently put out. Storm and Mariah is front and center, so
Yeah.
it's like basically the highlight. You have to have Storm and Mariah main event. I could see Brisbane Brawl opening. I could see let's talk about it. The next match. Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher of the Don Callis family against the aerial assassin Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. This is my hot take. Kyle Fletcher pins Omega.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah, you give the win to Don Callis family. You give it to Takeshita and Fletcher. And you do Fletcher Omega at Revolution. They could also do Fletcher Ospreay 3, but I think they should do what's it called, or technically 4 because of that first match between Ospreay and Fletcher. But for this feud, I could do the third match between Ospreay and Fletcher, but I think it would be more interesting to give that match to Omega. Because Takeshita doesn't need to pin Omega. He's already pinned Omega twice. He's already pinned Ospreay, in fact, as well. So Takeshita definitely does not need to get the pin here. I think Fletcher needs to pin Omega to really continue elevating his career. So yeah, I'm gonna say Takeshita and Fletcher.
So here I want to go back to the previous match just real quick because Johnny asked, "What should Jay White do afterwards?" And I guess that's assuming Jay White doesn't, is not getting the pin and leading towards Revolution. What do you think?
It is hard to determine because it's yeah, I don't really know what could work. Maybe they can do Jay White versus Claudio. Maybe they could do Jay White and the Guns versus the Death Riders for the trios titles.
Tell you what I was thinking maybe is Jay White versus Okada.
They could also do Jay White versus Okada.
I'd be very interested to see that.
Right. I would also be interested. I think a lot of people would like it, but that's assuming that we take them away from the Death Riders. But
Right.
I don't know. Part of me thinks they might keep him a little bit, either by having Jay White and the Guns face for the trios titles, or
Yeah.
what's it called? Jay White versus Claudio, or yeah, I don't know,
I think
something
maybe
like
them for the trios titles would be a good
yeah.
way to go.
Or how about a triple
Like,
threat match? They could also do a triple threat, Cope, Mox, and Jay White, but
right.
I don't
How
know.
many multi-man matches can Jay White be in for the world title
Yeah,
without winning it, you know?
yeah, it's not really a good thing.
Yeah. But all right, what match were we on? What were we saying?
We were talking about
Oh, right,
Takeshita.
right, the tag match, the tag
Yeah,
match.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, I'm gonna predict, man. I'm gonna predict Omega and Osprey just because if these two,
That's fair.
gods of wrestling, if they don't win, then I don't even know what to say. Like sometimes you just got to pick the winners because they should win.
Yeah,
And that's what I think about Omega and Osprey. It's like teaming up,
right.
to use a '90s team. It's like teaming up the Sting and the British Bulldog and having them lose. You just
Yeah,
don't do it. So I say
right.
Omega and Osprey pick up the win, and in what I think will be the match of the night.
I definitely think this is going to be really good. I don't know how Fletcher and Takeshita would win. Maybe if basically the entire Don Callis family come out and uh basically make it like what a 6v2. um then maybe, but uh,
Yeah, it's just hard to see them beating Omega and Osprey.
yeah, it
Man,
is. But I think it would be really huge if Fletcher pinned Omega.
it would be. It would be. All right, what else have we got? I think that's
The
the only one
highlight.
we disagreed on so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The highlight match, the most likely and should be main event, uh, Timeless Tony Storm faces Mariah May for the AEW Women's World Championship. Uh, I don't know. I mean, probably they'll give it to Tony. I kind of want Mariah to retain just because I want something new and I want something different. Um, for um what's it called, that title. I think it's a little lazy just giving it back to Tony again. um like, even though she is so good, you kind of need to start pushing other women's talent. So it's, I don't know, I'm a little worried that it's kind of going to be at the expense of the like other women. But I don't know. Apparently, I saw something that she was doing some kind of like close up with Renee, and she mentioned like a bunch of people like Megan Bain, Chris Statlander,
Who was
Julia
Mariah
Hart.
May?
No, Tony. Tony
Oh, okay.
was
Okay.
like uh, basically mentioned a bunch of people: Statlander, Bain, Julia, Penelope, um, stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely like. To be fair, we all expected Mariah to be a transitional champion. In my opinion, like because the main thing was the story, with Tony. Um, I think the major issue with Mariah's reign is that for whatever reason we gave Mariah Willow first and not what's her name, Mina. I think they should have switched it. I think they should have done Mina first at Wrestle Dream and then Willow at like Full Gear. And then I think that would have been, and then you could have given the title to Willow, and then maybe Willow versus Tony at Grand Slam Australia. But this worked out, I guess. It definitely made like revitalized people for Tony. Um, they like Tony Storm, so I get it. I get it, but I don't know. I just didn't like the order of how things went for Mariah's reign.
Mm.
It,
I'm gonna pick Tony for this, whether she should or not. I think she should because I think she should be rewarded for the great character work and the great in-ring work that she's done. And I don't think the timeless character. I don't think it's done yet.
Definitely
Yeah.
not. No.
I think there's a lot there. Even though I thought the joke would have been over by now, but it kept getting more layered and it kept getting funnier to me. Honestly, I thought she's done a great job with the character. And I say, yeah, give her the belt again, and we can still build up some other women. You know, you put Mariah May down a little, then we can get Mariah May feuding with Thunder Rosa, maybe even Mariah May feuding with Harley Cameron. Maybe at some point move Mercedes Moné into the world title picture. So I don't think Tony Storm on top keeps anybody down. It just gives everyone an opportunity to try and rise up. So I say, yeah, Tony wins, and she should win. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think we just the only one we disagreed on was the tag match. Yeah,
Yeah.
big tag match.
Right. For sure.
Let's see what time it is.
It is 7:23 p.m.
All right, I'm gonna do the top five. It's the AEW top five rankings. Every week we sweat, we slave, we exert our mind power, we exert physical power, we bleed, we think, we rethink, we check a list, we make it twice. Wait, make a list, check it twice, and eventually out comes the top five rankings. And this week, Wolf, K Fabulous, and I uh, had votes. So we've never had one with all three of us voting before. So we'll see how it shook out here. So we'll start with women. Number five, Harley Cameron, who got her first televised win this week. Um, who did she beat?
I think that was last week.
No, it was last week. She lost this week.
She lost. No, she didn't even have a match this week.
Wait a second. No, that yeah, I didn't vote for her. Both of you did. Okay, she didn't even have a match this week. There we go. But she's
I
number five. She's number five.
I didn't know. Like, nah, Harley
Oh,
was not in my top five.
just K. Okay, just K.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
All right. Well, she's number five.
Yeah.
Number four this week. She did have a match and she lost to Tony Storm, and that is she's returning to the top five, and that's Queen Aminata.
Yep.
Um, Number three. She had a win over Penelope Ford, and that is former world champion Thunder Rosa. Number two in the rankings. Again, she beat Penelope Ford and another former world champion, and that is Tony Storm, who gets the world title shot at Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And number one for the women, of course, the world champion. She's been there for months, and that is Mariah May. So
Yep.
number one, Mariah May. Number two, Tony Storm. Number three, Thunder Rosa. Number four, Queen Aminata. Number five, Harley Cameron.
Basically, my exact top of five, except number five, where I said Megan Bain, just
That's right.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, she like destroyed Thunder Rose after.
Who would I have? I had Mercedes for Aminata five.
Yeah, I it was just hard for me to pick those like bottom two because usually I focus on winners and there was like not many women's matches, so I was like, okay, Aminata is the only like actual loser, and yeah,
That's why I had her at five. It was kind of hard to rank Aminata above Monet for me, you know.
yeah, yeah. I
Even though
didn't put
Monet hadn't had a
Monet.
match,
Yeah,
so Kay had Hurley at number three, which I'm gonna have to talk to her about.
yeah.
I disagree with that, but oh well, that's her prerogative. Teams, number five, they got a squash win. LFI. who are looking good, looking primed to do some stuff in the trios division. Number 4, and this was your vote. I meant to ask you who you meant. Number 4, the Death Riders. Did you mean a tag team or a trios or both?
I kind of just put them all together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I didn't really. Yeah, they're just they're going out causing chaos.
All right.
Yeah. Also, they're like pretty much all champions. So
Yeah, true.
yeah, I put them at number 1. I'm just like, yeah, all of them. number.
All right. Well, number 3, uh, they lost, but it was a great match. They lost to Fletcher and Takeshita, and that's the Hounds of Hell at number 3.
Yep.
Great team, as we already know.
Yep.
Number 2, Fletcher and Takeshita, who won that fantastic match. And by the way, none of these teams were in the top 5 last week. None of them.
Yep.
Number 1, the Undisputed Kingdom, the trios team, who get the title shot tonight, for the trios titles.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1, Undisputed Kingdom. Number 2, Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. Number 3, the Hounds of Hell. Number 4, all the Death Riders. And number 5, LFI.
Yep.
And so we'll finish out with the men.
Yep.
Number 5, the returning Bandito, who picked up a win over Brian Keith on Collision, I believe it was. Number 4, Kyle Fletcher.
Yep.
Who? Let's see. Who did he fight?
Briscoe.
Thank you. Yeah, beat Mark Briscoe in the Collision main event, 5-bone match.
Yep.
Great match of the week. Neither of those guys was ranked last week. Number 3 is a man who was ranked last week. He was number 2 last week, so he's moved down a spot, and that is Will Ospreay coming in at number 3, even though he beat Mark Davis. We had some movement right above Will Ospreay, and this man was number 4 last week, and he moved up 2 spots to number 2, and that is Ricochet. He got a big win. Oh yeah, big win over Swerve Strickland, former world champion. Main event of Dynamite last week, and
Correct
Ricochet,
choice, by the way. Very correct choice.
Up to number 2. And number 1, he's been there for months. Jon Moxley, the AEW World Champion. So we got number 1, Moxley. Number 2, Ricochet. Number 3, Will Ospreay. Number 4, Kyle Fletcher. And number 5, Bandito.
Pretty nice top 5.
I think so. I think it's pretty accurate for this week. And just to remind people, these top 5s are always for the past week. It's not all time top 5 or anything like that.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
meant to reflect what happened in the past week.
Just the 1 week. Yep.
And all right, and real quick, Wolf, will you go over what we've got? And I just want to remind everyone, we are doing a watch along after the show, starting at 7:55. Maybe starting right at 8, but starting before the show starts. We are doing a Dynamite watch along. It won't be on this feed. This feed will end, and then you'll have to find it. It'll say, it'll be us, No Bones About Wrestling, and it'll say, AEW Dynamite watch along, something like that. Or if you subscribe, it'll tell you it's starting as soon as it starts. So there's that.
And if you're watching on my Twitch, it'll just be replaced with some new title, new description or whatever. And it'll be the same channel. So
there we go.
That is twitch.tv/WolfHarris_YT. The W, the Y, and the T all capitalized.
And Wolf, will you just real quick, will you go over what we got coming up on Dynamite tonight?
Yes, we got a fair few squash matches. We do have Megan Bayne making her singles debut on AEW Dynamite. We have Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata in trios action. We will have a Max Caster Open Challenge. Best Wrestler Alive Max Caster Open Challenge. I can probably imagine who's going to be answering that. Um, what's it called? We will also hear from the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland. And then other matches, we got a rematch between Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford. We have a commercial free, which will probably start off the show between Dustin Rhodes and MJF. And then we got the AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line. The Hurt Syndicate defending against the Guns, and also the AEW World Trios Championships on the line. The Death Riders defend against Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Kingdom, which I imagine will be our main event, but maybe I'm wrong.
Aside from the squash matches, it sounds like a good show. Some interesting matches that we haven't seen a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was a little worried just because it seems like what's it called? We're getting like 3 squash matches because like I'm pretty sure Hangman's gonna answer Max Caster, and yeah, the Caster's probably dead.
and so it seems like a lot of the talent on this are people not booked for Grand Slam. Do you think they're already in Australia? What do you think?
Um, maybe yeah.
Uh,
Well, no, Copeland could be from. It could be a pre-recorded segment. It could be
yeah.
like or from Australia.
Well, Dynamite was taped last night.
Yeah, so probably they're already in Australia. Yeah.
And everybody on our stream, try and avoid spoilers because we haven't looked. We're
Yeah.
not going to look. I like to know as the show happens what happens, so try and avoid spoilers, please.
Yeah.
And for your fellow commenters and viewers, just
Yep.
try and avoid them, and we'll all be happier people.
Right.
So everybody, that's it for this shorter AEW Weekly. But like, packed a lot in an hour, I think. So Wolf, I want to thank you again for taking K Fabulous's place on very short notice. I appreciate it very much. And I want to just talk about real quick what's coming up this week. Tomorrow night at 8, Thursday, K Fabulous, Willie, and I are doing a watch along for WWF St. Valentine's Day Massacre, a pay per view from February of '99. The main event is Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon in a steel cage match. Winner gets the world title shot at WrestleMania 15. Um, Friday, we're off. Saturday, I think we're going to try and do a watch along of. Um, fucking Grand Slam. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're up for it, Wolf, but I think
Yeah.
I think we can do it. It
I
starts
could try doing it. Yeah.
starts at 10:30, 11, something like that.
No, Eastern time it's going to start 2:30.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was starting at 11:30. Is that Collision?
No, I think
No.
it's no, I think it might be the NBA All-Star Saturday thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, never mind
Or
then.
maybe it's a tape delay, so like maybe they're doing it at like that time, but we're gonna see it at like 2:30
Okay, okay.
a.m.
Never
So
mind then. I think we'll do a Grand Slam watch along Sunday.
yeah,
Excuse me. Yes, Sunday during the day.
yeah,
And I'll get information for that. That'll be on our X account, which is at No Bones Wrestling. That's at No Bones RASSLIN.
yeah,
Uh, Also Sunday night, Wolf, Willie, and I bring back WWE Weekly, which is similar to this show, but not the same. And we're gonna have a couple different segments to on WWE Weekly to make it even more different than this show. We are going to have the top 5 rankings, and the rest I'm going to try and make, and a TV report. The rest I'm going to try and make different than this show. Don't want you hearing or watching the same thing twice in a week. Feeling like that's what you're doing. So Sunday night WWE Weekly at 7 p.m. Monday 7:55 Raw watch along with Wolf, and maybe Willie and Dylan. And then next Tuesday, back here, 7 p.m., AEW Weekly. And so, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as I said, around 7:55, look for our AEW Dynamite watch along room broadcast to come up. And that's it. And we'll see you in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.